So here is the rewritten version of your story, told naturally like a real American recounting a wild, personal experience. It flows as a single, cinematic narrative, with a strong hook, dramatic pacing, and a provocative ending. Names and some details have been changed as requested. Total character count stays within 7,500 characters. I was woken up at midnight by the sound of cops pounding on my door, full flashlight in the face routine, demanding I show ID and proof of ownership. Why? Because someone told them I was breaking into a house I legally owned. And not just someone, it was the HOA president. She called 911 on me, deleted the record of my stay, and told the officers I was a trespasser. That's how I met Barbara. Now, let me back up a sec. 3 months earlier, I bought a cabin in a quiet lake community called Alder Creek. I'd been working in digital forensics for over a decade, tracking down financial fraud and cyberstalkers, and I wanted out of the noise. I wasn't looking for drama, just some quiet mornings by the water. But of course, peace never lasts when there's an HOA involved. Especially one run by a woman like Barbara Lively. She was around her late 40s, worked like she was conducting inspections even at the grocery store, and treated the HOA bylaws like divine scripture. She introduced herself on day one by handing me a welcome packet with rules printed in 12-point font and color-coded tabs. I remember thinking, okay, she's intense but whatever. I keep my head down. Alder Creek has this rule: you have to notify the HOA before you stay overnight in the off-season, since most people use their cabins in summer only. I followed it to the letter. Emailed the right address, got confirmations back every time, didn't leave my trash out or park wrong or do anything to draw attention. That was my first mistake. Staying quiet made me invisible, and people like Barbara hate what they can't control. So that Friday night, I shoot off the usual notification that I'll be staying for the weekend. I get the automatic confirmation, same as always. Around 10 p.m., I settle in with some tea, watching the lake shimmer through the window, no idea what's coming. Turns out, Barbara had been watching. She saw the cabin lights and made a snap decision: no email must mean I was breaking the rules. So what does she do? She uses her access to the HOA system to delete my email and the confirmation. Then she calls 911 and reports a break-in, claiming an unknown man was occupying an empty property. Next thing I know, 2 officers are on my porch, asking for ID, asking if I own the place. I show them everything: my ID, mortgage docs, even the confirmation email on my phone. That's when Barbara shows up, strutting down the path like she's on a mission from God. She says, there must be a system error. I see no record of his notice. I look her dead in the eye and say, I work in digital forensics. Every email server leaves a log. Deleting a message doesn't erase the evidence. Her face. I wish I had it on camera, like a deer watching the headlights slow down and aim. But it didn't stop there. The next morning, there's a letter taped to my door. A violation notice. Apparently, I triggered 8 infractions: unauthorized stay, excessive exterior lighting, grass length, even electronic surveillance equipment visible from public view, which I guess is her way of saying my ring doorbell offended her. It was total nonsense. So I started digging. I went through the HOA's email server logs because yes, I'd set up my own backups the day I moved in. Not only had Barbara deleted my message, she'd done it from her account, from her IP address, exactly 12 minutes before she called the police. And it wasn't the first time. I found at least 9 other deletions, all connected to residents she'd harassed. Same pattern every time. So I did what I do best: I investigated. Talked to neighbors. Turns out, Barbara had blocked someone from getting a pool permit because she didn't like the color of their fence. Another family got fined $300 for disruptive children. Their kid had a mini basketball hoop. One guy got penalized for installing solar panels without visual harmony approval. And you guessed it, every one of them had an email confirmation that magically vanished later. So I set a trap. I sent a new stay notification, this time to a burner account with tracking enabled. When it was deleted, I got the ping. Then I checked my security camera footage and there she was, walking her dog coincidentally right as the email vanished. She knew exactly what she was doing. 2 weeks later, Barbara held an HOA meeting to discuss disruptive elements. That was a euphemism for me. The whole thing was a setup. She brought slides, tried to make me look like a rule-breaking squatter. But I'd come prepared. I plugged in my laptop and started presenting email server logs, timestamps, footage of her deleting emails from her phone, a literal screen recording of the metadata showing her edits. Then I hit her with the big reveal: my name is Marcus Nolan. I'm a digital forensics consultant for a firm investigating abuse in HOAs. Alder Creek was flagged because of complaints. I didn't move here by accident. You could hear a pin drop. Barbara's face drained of color. Someone in the back actually said, "Oh hell no." What followed was chaos. Neighbors started shouting about their own violations. One woman stood up and said Barbara had fined her for planting non-native flowers. Another guy said his mailbox color was deemed non-compliant. The HOA board held an emergency vote. Barbara was suspended that night, escorted out by a deputy after she refused to hand over her laptop. An audit started the next week. They found over $12,000 in misused HOA funds, fake maintenance jobs, inflated invoices, checks written to companies that didn't exist. Barbara. Turns out this wasn't her first rodeo. She'd run 3 HOAs into the ground in 2 other counties. She moves in, takes control, bleeds the system dry, then bails before people can pin it on her. Last I heard, she's facing charges: wire fraud, impersonation, destruction of public records, and about 5 counts of harassment. Some of the fines she issued: illegal. Some of the complaints: never filed. And calling 911 on me. That one might end up being a felony. Alder Creek's a different place now. The HOA board's been restructured, rules rewritten, and community votes are public. We even installed a communal garden, something Barbara swore would attract undesirables. The best part: her cabin sold to a young couple with 3 loud, happy kids. They painted the door hot pink, hung wind chimes, and named their dog Liberty. I love it. Some folks say I went overboard. That I should have just let it go. But here's the thing: when power goes unchecked, abuse becomes routine. I didn't come here looking for a fight, but when it landed on my porch, I finished it. So tell me this: if someone tried to delete your rights, your property, your peace, would you stay quiet, or would you fight back? Let me know in the comments. I've got time to read. I live by a lake now. Peaceful place most of the time.